Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today we just got a insane motherload of news and information and stuff that, this is what we're going to be talking about probably for the next several years. This is the future of Star Wars, and it was all announced like in an hour or something. So as I said in a video a few days ago, the Disney investors meeting was today, and I didn't want to get myself too hyped up because we've been disappointed with these investor meetings before. We've had like relatively little, if any, news at all come out of them, and everyone's like, oh dang, I got all hyped up for no reason. But whoa. I figured there was going to be something because there was no Star Wars Celebration, there was no Comic-Con, so I know that they were holding on to a lot of announcements, but I did not expect this. Now, having said that, there are still some projects that very reputable sources have said are happening that were not announced. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're going to go through every single thing, Star Wars thing that they talked about. There's a lot of Marvel stuff, there's a lot of other Disney stuff that I'm very excited for also, but, you know, we're going to keep it Star Wars here. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through. Today, at the Walt Disney Company Investors Day event, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy announced a staggering number of new films, series, and surprises that will expand the Star Wars galaxy like never before. So, the first thing here is that Kathleen Kennedy is the one who actually came on stage and did all this. I'm going to tell you right now, and I kind of feel like this doesn't really need saying, but people keep proving me wrong, so I'm going to say it again. Kathleen Kennedy is still very much in charge of Lucasfilm. You can disagree with her decisions, you can disagree with everything that happened with all the new movies, you can not like her as a person, whatever, that's your choice, okay? But if there's a YouTuber or some stupid website out there saying like Kathleen Kennedy was secretly fired months ago, or Kathleen Kennedy was kicked off the Mandalorian set, or some crazy nonsense like that, they're full of shit. That's just the truth. They're completely full of shit. Kathleen Kennedy is still in charge of Lucasfilm. Okay, her contract ends. I believe her contract ends next year, because if you remember, her contract was going to end, but then it was extended for 3 years. Next year would be year number 3, so her contract should end next year. I don't know what's going to happen after that. Nobody does. So if someone comes out there talking like, oh, I heard these rumors, there was this big fight, and this is why she's actually going to get fired, they're full of shit. Don't listen to them. Unsubscribe from their channel, because that's bullshit. Anyways, that's not what we're here for. So the very first thing here is Rogue Squadron. Nobody knew about this. This was not like a rumor. This was not anything on anyone's radar as far as I'm aware. Nobody had this one coming. The next Star Wars feature film will be Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins of Wonder Woman franchise. The story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives in a boundary-pushing, high-speed thrill ride and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy. Okay, so first off, this is the next feature film, okay? I believe they say down here, yeah, lock S-foils in attack position, Rogue Squadron arrives in theaters Christmas of 2023. Okay, so yeah, this is the next thing that's happening. This is before Taika Waititi's movie, which they also confirmed in this thing. They also confirmed that Taika Waititi is still making a movie, but this one's happening first, which actually makes a lot of sense. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there saying like, oh, that means there's all kinds of behind the scenes problems. No, because look, Taika Waititi's working on Thor Love and Thunder, a movie that still needs to come out, I think, next year. So obviously he's probably not working on Star Wars simultaneously as he's working on the Marvel, like his next Marvel movie, right? So that makes sense that his movie is not going to be the one that comes out next, because he's like, well, no, I'm still writing that. I'm still finishing Thor. It makes sense. Patty Jenkins' movie, however, the last Wonder Woman 1984, it's been done for months. Her movie's been done. It's just been waiting to be released. It was supposed to be released earlier this year, so it makes a lot more sense that Patty Jenkins' movie would be the next one to come out, because it's like, yeah, she's probably working on it right now. That makes a lot of sense. So, you know, you're gonna hear dumb people be like, this means there's problems with Taika Waititi. No, stop. Anyways, this is really, really cool the first thing I noticed is that it's just called Rogue Squadron. It's not called Rogue Squadron, a Star Wars story, which I feel like they did that because of Solo. You know, they're probably like, hey, you know what? Solo, you know, not a lot of people went to go see it. Let's drop the Star Wars story moniker. You know, they can kind of get rid of that. Also, this kind of leaves the gateway open for maybe more sequels to, you know, the Rogue Squadron can be its own trilogy of movies. And that's pretty cool. It doesn't always have to be about the Force or lightsabers or whatever. It can be about these pilots and their journey in the galaxy. And that's really awesome. The interesting thing about this is that a lot of people are assuming, you know, and so did I, that Rogue Squadron was based on Rogue Squadron, those books that came out back in the EU, and it was supposed to be, you know, post Return of the Jedi. It was just going to be like a trilogy, just like those books were a trilogy, I think, right? But here's something interesting. If you actually look at the phrasing that they use here, move the saga into the future era of the galaxy. And then if you actually look at this right here, do you see how the engines are split on this logo of the X-Wing? That, I believe, is a T-70 X-Wing. This is what they used for the Resistance in the sequel trilogy. It's possible. I don't know this. I could be wrong. But it looks like to me that this is actually maybe a post Rise of Skywalker movie. You know, maybe this is about the New Republic. You know, I guess the New Republic after the other New Republic was destroyed by the First Order. So, anyways, whatever they're gonna call it, they'll probably just call it the New Republic again. But yeah, that's kind of what it looks like to me. Again, I could be wrong. This could just be set in the same era of, you know, the video game Star Wars Squadrons, how you were playing there, and they even name dropped Rogue Squadron in that video game. It's possible that it's set during that time period, and it is essentially those EU books come to life. But again, that does not look like an original trilogy X-Wing to me. So I don't know. It looks like it could be a sequel trilogy era, you know, post sequel trilogy. That's interesting. And then, of course, we have a little tidbit about the Taika Waititi movie. This is the next thing. A brand new Star Wars feature with acclaimed filmmaker Taika Waititi is in development. Taika's approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique. His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are in for an unforgettable ride. That's all they gave us. We don't have a title. We don't have a logo. We don't have any sense of a synopsis of what this could be, nothing. We know nothing. As it has been for like the last year, we know nothing about Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. So next, Obi-Wan Kenobi, something we knew was coming. Now we have an actual title. It's just called Obi-Wan Kenobi. I kind of thought that they would name it Kenobi. I'm fine with it being his full name. Not a big deal. Whatever. Last, Lucasfilm announced Ewan McGregor the iconic role of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi for a special event on Disney Plus, officially titled Obi-Wan Kenobi. The series is set 10 years after the dramatic events of Revenge of the Sith, where he faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice Anakin Skywalker turned evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. The series is directed by Deborah Chow, so all this stuff that we pretty much knew. This will truly be a day long remembered, as it was confirmed that Hayden Christensen will be returning as Darth Vader. This will be the rematch of the century, Kennedy said. Okay, so that is something that was rumored, that Hayden Christensen was going to come back. Now, interestingly enough, they literally said he's coming back as Darth Vader, not Anakin Skywalker, because the rumored idea when it was flying around that he was coming back for this show, the rumored idea was that it was going to be for like maybe flashbacks, maybe like, oh, he'll be like in his Clone Wars armor or something, and they'll kind of recreate the Clone Wars look, and they could do flashbacks like that, which they could still do, but this definitely implies that he's going to do some Vader stuff. So I'm expecting kind of similar to Rogue One, where you see him like in the back to tank and he's just like this limbless torso and he's just kind of hanging there. I'm kind of expecting Hayden Christensen to kind of play that part. Maybe they'll show his face a little bit. They could do something like that. Maybe they'll even like have him talk a little bit and his voice is all messed up because he can't really use it. You know, that's why he has the mask in the first place. So maybe he's just like, blah, 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 you know, he sounds all like, yeah. You know, they could do some crazy stuff with this. So that's pretty cool. You know, and Ian McGregor's really excited to be with Aiden Christensen again. So that's pretty cool. Next, we have Ahsoka, the Ahsoka series. Again, this is something that was long rumored. And, you know, obviously after she showed up in Mandalorian as Rosario Dawson, it made logical sense. It's like, okay, so this is a backdoor pilot. That's what it is. And basically, yeah, that's what they're saying here. After making her long-awaited live-action debut in The Mandalorian, will continue as a limited series starring Rosario Dawson, produced by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. So we don't know who's directing it, and we're assuming, I suppose, that this is her hunt for Thrawn and Ezra, maybe. There was like that whole kind of confusion of like her appearance in The Mandalorian was actually before the Star Wars Rebels like final conclusion with her and Sabine going off to find Ezra, that was actually after her appearance in The Mandalorian. So the timeline it works out for her show to be about that. I really like this logo, like the way that they made her name look. I don't know if that's ever been like a thing before, like her name written in this style, but I like it. It's pretty cool. Next, we have something called Rangers of the New Republic, set within the timeline of The Mandalorian. This new live-action series from producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will intersect with future stories and culminate into a climactic story event. So, now this is where we kind of get into our whole Filoniverse idea, because the Ahsoka show, produced by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and Rangers of the New Republic, also by them too, right? Now, this is basically where we kind of get into this Filoniverse idea, where you have The Mandalorian, this show, and that other show, all leading into essentially what would be an Avengers type mega crossover event where they got to take down maybe Moff Gideon or Thrawn or whoever. It's probably going to end up being Thrawn. I have to imagine it's Thrawn at the end of the day. So that's pretty cool. That's actually really awesome. You know, there's a bunch of... This whole Rangers of the New Republic, they didn't name any stars. They didn't give us any more information aside from what's right here. The interesting thing about that is that it was rumored for a hot minute that Cara Dune was going to get her own spin-off, and it was like supposed to be like a Cara Dune and Bo-Katan thing. I made a video on that was like a rumor for a minute. However, I've also heard other rumors that because of Gina Carano's behavior on social media, it's possible that her part in this may no longer exist. So, you know, I don't know. You know, I'm sure everyone has their own opinion on the whole Gina Carano situation. All I know is that they didn't give us anyone who's starring in the show, and yet it's supposed to be part of, you know, the Ahsoka Mandalorian, I guess, trilogy of shows, but they gave us very little, not at all, information about this one. It would be funny if one of the stars of the show is Dave Filoni as that pilot Trapper Wolf or something like that. That would be pretty funny if he ends up being like the star of the show, just as the X-Wing pilot, and that other pilot that he was with during this season. That'd be really, really funny. I'd like that. Let's see. So next we have the Lando show. This is something that Kessel Run Transmissions actually scooped earlier this year. All we get on this one is that everyone's favorite scoundrel Lando Calrissian will return in a brand new event series for Disney Plus. Justin Simeon, creator of the critically acclaimed Dear White People and a huge Star Wars fan, is developing the story. Okay, so I believe that Kessel Run Transmissions reported this with the implication, or maybe they just said it, I don't remember, that it is going to be Donald Glover coming back as the young Lando that we saw in Solo, which to me would obviously make the most sense, especially if this is just going to be like a limited, like, you know, we get him for 10 episodes. Obviously he's a really big star, he's probably busy doing 10 million other things. That I can see. I do not imagine that they're going to get Billy D. Williams to do action scenes or anything like that, so I highly doubt this is going to be like an older Lando. The other option, of course, is that this ends up being like an animated thing. That's always possible too, because again, we didn't get any other information aside from what's said right here, so we don't even know if it's live action. This could just be an animated show for all we know. So, you know, that's interesting. Next, of course, we have Andor, and we even got like a little bit of like some concept art and some props and stuff like that. Little behind the scenes featurette for Andor. You know, this is a show that we've known is gonna come for like a while, like the Cassian Andor show. A lot of people even kind of started to think like maybe they canceled it because it had been a while since they've announced it, and they have not said a word about it like ever since. So it is cool that like, okay, it is happening, it is being filmed, it is real, it's definitely happening at this point. So that's pretty cool. Now, my one thing about this has always been like, okay, yeah, on one hand, I get it because Cassian Andor died, and where do you even go for the prequel of these Rogue One characters who we honestly barely got to know? You know, I'm sure plenty of people liked his character, but it's like, you know, you're gonna center a whole show around this character here who died already? I don't know. But after watching the featurette, and I've kind of, you know, I've always had this thought of like, well, it's set in the right time period of the original trilogy, right before A New Hope. You know, there's still a lot of interesting things you could play around with in that era. And then someone even brought up like, oh, what if we see, just like in Squadrons, what if you see like a Harrison Nula live action? You could get some of these Rebels characters in there, and that makes a lot of sense. And of course, you can get Saw Gerrera to come back. There's a lot of stuff you could do. So, you know what? I'm here for it. Make it happen, right? Why not? And they're calling it a tense, nail-biting spy thriller. So, you know what? I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. Surprise me. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. Oh, and they also gave us a couple of things right here. Let's see, Stellan Skarsgård, blah blah blah, Fiona Shaw, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. Okay, so they're confirming Mon Mothma, so that's good. That makes a lot of sense. So she's coming back as Mon Mothma. That's really good. This next one, The Acolyte. Okay, so this is the Leslie Headland show, which, by the way, the Leslie Headland show, when it was reported that it was going to be a female-centric show. However, I don't believe that aspect of it has been mentioned ever since that initial report. I don't think that, like, I don't know if she's ever confirmed that it was a female-centric show. I think that was just that first report that came out about it. So I don't know, because here's what they say here. Leslie Headland, Emmy Award-winning nominated creator of the mind-bending series Russian Doll, which I actually really liked, brings a new Star Wars series to Disney Plus with The Acolyte. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. That is very cool. That is very cool and very interesting. Okay, because here's what we have right now. Again, it did not mention anything about being female-centric. I remember, you know, your usual YouTube dumbasses got on about like, oh, it's a feminist show, blah blah blah, you know. And again, they didn't say anything about female-centric here at all anyways, so it's whatever. Anyways, it's stupid. The interesting thing about this is that, you know, of course, shadowy secrets, emerging dark side powers, and the final days of the High Republic era, 200 years before the Phantom Menace, right? So you think about that, and you are going into, you know, maybe Plagueis as an apprentice of someone and his master, maybe even a generation before that with the Sith, right? What I'm trying to say is, like, you could get into like some cool Sith stuff here, especially because the show is called The Acolyte, right? So that's like, what does the Acolyte mean, right? That's like the student, right? The Padawan, basically. Yeah, unless I'm completely wrong what that word means. But to me, that sounds a lot like we're going to be following a Sith apprentice. You know, we could start, you know, this might be a little too early for Plagueis stuff. I don't know how old Plagueis was supposed to live. But this could definitely be like, because during the High Republic, the Jedi thought that the Sith were dead for 1,000 years. They're like, the Sith are gone. So the Sith are just in hiding ever since like the Rule of Two and Darth Bane's whole line of Sith, right? So you kind of have this idea of the Sith being behind the scenes for 1,000 years. There's a lot of stuff you can play with that, you know, so that's very exciting and that's very intriguing. And I love that we have the High Republic, like it is confirmed it is getting a show, it's part of the High Republic. So it is not just a publishing initiative. Now, this is actually one of the things that I was talking about earlier, where I was like, you know, some of the stuff that is very heavily rumored by reputable sources did not get confirmed. One being an animated series set during the High Republic. So, we have a live action series here, right? I believe it's live action. My miniseries. Actually, I don't know if they actually say it's live action. I'm assuming it's live action. Anyways, we had a rumored animated High Republic series, and that did not seem to get confirmed here. So I do feel like they still have a couple things they're saving for later on, maybe when they're further in production. But this is still pretty cool. I'm glad that the High Republic is officially no longer just a publishing initiative. It's no longer just books and comics. As much as I'm gonna like those books and comics, I want them to be more. I want it to be like, you know, don't just stick this era in one little corner of Star Wars and ignore it on all the other mediums, you know, like put it in a show, make references to it in movies or something, you know, like let it be involved in things. So if the High Republic is a thing, make it a thing, you know. So here we go, the Acolyte. That's pretty cool. I'm excited for that. That's pretty neat. And then next we have the Bad Batch, something that of course again we already knew about. We actually got a pretty awesome trailer for it. So this is, I think, the only real trailer that we got. The other stuff was kind of like behind the scenes, or just people kind of talking about it, but this is like a legit trailer and it's really cool. So essentially, you know, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the Bad Batch. It's about those clones there. And it's essentially everything that we heard when it was officially announced. But more than ever, this sounds exactly like a Clone Wars follow-up. This, you know, I think as Corey put it, from Transmissions, he tweeted out like this is basically season 8 of the Clone Wars, and it is, because you watch the trailer and it follows up exactly like you know, Order 66 is happening. The Republic just got turned into the Empire. You still see a lot of clone troopers, but I'm sure during the show we're going to see the transition into stormtroopers. So it's like, yeah, this is literally just season 8. Like this is they're just continuing where the other one left off. So that's pretty cool. And of course, you know, you can, as you can even see right here, it's the animation style is exactly the same as Clone Wars. They didn't change anything. So like it literally is just, you can end season 7 and then start watching the show, and then after this you can watch Rebels, you know. So it's all kind of going into one long story like that, and it's pretty cool. Next up we have Star Wars Visions. This one's really interesting to me. Presenting all new creative takes on the galaxy far, far away, Star Wars Visions will be a series of animated short films celebrating Star Wars through the lens of the world's best anime creators. The anthology collection will bring 10 fantastic visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios, offering a fresh and diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars. So that is really cool. I've wanted an anime styled Star Wars something for a while. You know, I think for obvious reasons, Star Wars would go really well into an anime. And I'm excited for what this could be, because this is going to be an anthology, which means, you know, the whole show is not going to be about like one specific thing. They could literally do anything. Any episode could be set anywhere, about anybody. It could be new characters, it could be well-known characters. I'm really excited by the implications here. Now, is it all going to be canon? Like, are these anime studios getting to choose the stories they want to do, or did Lucasfilm come up to them and say like, here's the stories, now you can animate it? Or like what is the idea here? It says through their lens, so I'm kind of assuming that they had some sort of writing, freedom there, so they must have. So that's pretty cool. And lastly, on the Star Wars news, we have a droid story. As Lucasfilm continues to develop new stories, the intersection of animation and visual effects offers new opportunities to explore. Lucasfilm Animation will be teaming up with Lucasfilm's visual effects teams, Light and Magic, to develop a special Star Wars adventure for Disney Plus, a droid story. Whew. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by legendary duo R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, that's interesting, is that they're talking about like intersection of animation and visual effects. It almost sounds like this is going to be some kind of like VR interaction kind of thing. That's almost what this sounds like. So I don't know. This might end up being like a VR thing that's on Disney Plus. It sounds like that's what it is. I'm imagining this one's going to be more of a much more child-oriented little fun thing with the droids. That's usually how they do it. Although it being with R2 and C-3PO, it reminds me of the old animated droids cartoon. So that's kind of cool. I'm sure that was a purposeful callback to that. It has to be. So that's really neat. I like that. And that's all of our Star Wars news. We got a lot of stuff, and obviously as time goes on, we're going to learn even more about some of these things that we literally just got like the title or just like, hey, this is happening, like the Lando show. We don't know anything about it. We don't know what it could be about. The Acolyte, at least we got some information about it, so that's good. That's very interesting. Rangers of the New Republic, we got literally nothing on that. We don't know what it's about. So we're gonna learn more as time goes on, but this was a big day. This was a crazy day, and wow, I'm just gonna be processing this for a while. Man, this is gonna be probably up to 2023, I imagine. So I don't expect all of these to come out next year or anything like that. That's never gonna be the case. But between the next 3 years, I'm expecting that's when all these are going to be spread out. And again, there's probably other stuff that we have not heard about. There have been Mace Windu rumors. There have been Thrawn and Ezra rumors. There's been a lot of rumors that were not confirmed today, which makes sense. There's always going to be projects that they have on the back burner, just in development, kind of waiting to see if they actually want to move forward with it. That's how these things work. So we're never going to know everything that they're working on, but the fact that we got this much is really cool. And again, a lot of this was probably going to come out on Star Wars Celebration, and that of course ended up not happening. But wow, this was a really big day. I'm so excited for the future of Star Wars. I really am. And I keep thinking back about all the times that like a movie came out that was divisive or something, and people were like, they killed Star Wars, it's over. And it's like, okay. And if anything, this just, it should prove how silly that sentiment is. It's like, Star Wars is not a franchise that's going to get killed by one bad movie or 3 bad movies or whatever. There's always going to be different Star Wars. It's going to change. It's going to become different things. For the longest time, it was just movies, and then it became books, and then it became comic books, and then now it's TV shows. Star Wars will change, and it will morph to become something, but it's never gone away, has it? There's always going to be something out there. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm just rambling now. I'm really excited. Let me know what you were most excited for. What do you want to know the most about? I think the Acolyte is the one that's like, we know, this is the one we know the least about almost. But it's very interesting, and I want to know more about that one. The Lando show, Rangers of the New Republic. There's a lot. Anyways, let me know what you want to know more about. Let me know what you're excited for, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.